Hi, all the students. Welcome once again to ACE CAT. And today, once again, we are going to take some very interesting CAT level questions based on sentence elimination, odd one out. Yesterday, students, we took a wonderful passage based on book review. I urge all the students, whatever live sessions we are taking on VARC, and at the same time, very soon we are going to have beautiful live sessions on DILR. And anyway, Ankit sir is full on with his live sessions on quant as well. Students, this trio of I myself, Anil Chaudhary, and then Ankit Sharma sir and Arpit sir, okay, this trio is carving a niche and creating a big difference in the CAT edtech industry, and the kind of response which you people have been giving, the kind of appreciation which you people have been sharing with us. Okay, thank you so much for that. And that becomes an inspiration for us to keep delivering the best. So students, welcome once again. Yes. So sentence elimination we are going to discuss today. And when I talk about sentence elimination, you people very well understand what is the pattern. 5 sentences are given to us, and among those 5, we need to find out the odd one out. This becomes a test of jumbled paragraph also and odd one out also. It is not needed that each and every time we need to arrange the rest of the 4 sentences to identify the odd one. Many times it happens like just by reading all the 5 sentences, you are able to make out that this sentence slightly seems to be different. And students, if you are able to find out the correct answer without arranging the rest of 4 sentences into a paragraph, you can save a lot of time as well. But yes, odd one out, don't take it for granted. इससे ये बहुत आसान होगा, बिल्कुल नहीं होगा. हमने लास्ट वीक भी एक सेशन इस पर लिया था, and today again 5 more questions based on it. तो चलिए स्टूडेंट्स तैयार हो जाते हैं, and these are wonderful courses available. 2025 के स्टूडेंट्स, if you are done with your preparation, test yourself, okay, using the mock test series, the WinCat series of AceCat. And at the same time, we people have launched Impulse batch, which actually becomes a booster course. जिन बच्चों को लगता है कि सर despite giving the best a try, still the confidence is not there, या फिर ऐसे बच्चे जो बहुत लेट बिगिनर्स थे, इन सब बच्चों के लिए एक बहुत अच्छा बूस्टर कोर्स DILR में, क्वांट में एंड VRC में is available, and the name of that is Impulse batch. So we urge all the students, जरूर ले लो. Time is very important. अगर कुछ एक्स्ट्रा पैसा इन्वेस्ट करके we people can do justice with the time and can score well in this very attempt of CAT. I think it does a value for money proposition, and you people should invest money. And I believe that AceCat के जितने स्टूडेंट्स अभी तक बैठे हैं, वो सब इसे टेस्टिफाई करेंगे कि AceCat के जो कोर्सेस हैं वो टोटली वैल्यू फॉर मनी कोर्सेस हैं. एंड जो बच्चे CAT 2026 में आना चाहते हैं, we are going to start a new batch now. ये सॉरी 13 सितंबर तो निकल गया, but we are going to have the next batch जो कि 27 सितंबर को हम लोग लॉन्च करने वाले हैं. चलिए, now students, coming on the very first question. Yes, the students who are live can keep giving the answers, and जो students live नहीं हैं वो बाद में please ensure करें, pause करके सबसे पहले खुद सोचो, read the paragraph twice, read all the 5 sentences twice, identify कि कहाँ से start करना है. The moment you are able to identify from where to begin, you will actually come to know what is the topic of the passage, what is the theme of the passage, and then identifying the odd one out will become easy for you. Come on everyone, I'm waiting for your answers. Yes, hi Ayush. और सभी स्टूडेंट्स स्ट्रीम को लाइक जरूर करो भाई. आप लोग इतने सारे वीडियोस हैं, इट्स नॉट ओनली अबाउट AceCat, कहीं पर भी कुछ भी सीखने को मिलता है. कीप शेयरिंग योर अप्रिसिएशन. ओके, बिल्कुल, हमेशा जितना अप्रिशिएट करोगे उतना ग्रो करोगे. अंडरस्टैंड. चलिए, व्हाट्स इज द करेक्ट आंसर? हैव यू पीपल थॉट? ओके, now let us try to give the correct answer here without arrangement. सबसे पहले, without any bias, without any prejudice, read all the 5 sentences. A particularly interesting example of inference occurs in many single panel comics. स्टूडेंट्स, आपको पता होगा सिंगल पैनल कॉमिक्स क्या होता है. वैसे तो कॉमिक्स में जनरली यू पीपल सी दैट ऐसे बहुत सारे कार्टून्स होते हैं और एक सीरीज ऑफ कार्टून्स होती है. बट सिंगल पैनल कॉमिक का मतलब है वेयर ओनली वन इमेज इज शोन. जनरली स्टूडेंट्स न्यूज़पेपर्स में जो कार्टून्स आते हैं दैट बिकम्स द बेस्ट एग्जांपल ऑफ सिंगल पैनल कॉमिक. So students, we are talking about single panel comic, and this is a very good example of inference, because just by looking at one single panel, you will have to infer what actually is the message of the cartoonist. Second, it is the creator's participation and imagination that makes the single panel comic so engaging and so rewarding. So in the second sentence, I'm talking about the qualities of the creator. So what kind of qualities this person should have and how the single panel comic becomes so engaging and so rewarding. So whenever you read any sentence, keep thinking in your mind, what is the purpose of writing that sentence and what purpose that sentence is fulfilling. The students have देखो first option मुझे लगता है टॉपिक को इंट्रोड्यूस करता है and second option ये बताता है कि अल्टीमेटली इसके जो क्रिएटर्स हैं उनकी कौन सी क्वालिटीज इस कॉमिक को एंगेजिंग और रिवॉर्डिंग बनाती है. Third, often the humor requires you to imagine sorry often the humor requires you to imagine what happened in the instant immediately before or immediately after the panel you are being shown. Students, जो people understand किसी भी कॉमिक के पीछे का जो ह्यूमर है, if you want to understand it, so you will have to visualize, you will have to imagine कि इस पैनल के पहले, इस इमेज के पहले क्या था और इसके बाद क्या आएगा. Because unless you imagine that, you will not be able to decode the humor behind it. Okay, so third actually talks about from the reader's perspective. Okay, if that reader wants to understand what is the message of the single panel comic, he will have to visualize and he will have to imagine कि इसके पहले के पैनल में क्या था और बाद में क्या था. Understand. So often the humor requires you to imagine what happened in the instant immediately before. So the third sentence talks about what qualities the viewer or the reader should have. Understand. The second talks about the qualities of the creator, and third talks about the quality which the viewer should have. They should be able to imagine. That means they should be imaginative. Understand. Fourth, to get the joke, that means again to understand that humor, you actually have to figure out what some of these missing panels must be. So when I say students, some of these missing panels, तो ये these किसको रेफर करता है? हमेशा ध्यान रखना, ऑड वन आउट में सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट होता है या पैराजंबल्स में सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट होता है प्रोनाउंस पे फोकस करना. तो फोर्थ सेंटेंस में जब मैं कहता हूँ these missing panels, which one? The instant immediately before and immediately after. So when I say these missing panels, so we are actually talking about those panels which are given in the third sentence. But it seems like third and fourth आपस में gel होता है. Understand? But again, fourth also talks about ultimately to understand the joke. Okay. Fifth, that is as though the cartoonist devised a series of panels to tell the story and has chosen to show you only one, and typically not even the funniest. तो स्टूडेंट ये जो सिंगल पैनल कॉमिक है, इट इज एज दो, ऐसा लगता है कार्टूनिस्ट ने एक सीरीज ऑफ पैनल्स बना रखा है, उसमें एक ही दिखाया, जबकि सिंगल पैनल कॉमिक में जनरली ऐसा नहीं होता, वो एक ही पैनल बनाया जाता है. अंडरस्टैंड. बट इट इज एज दो. द फिफ्थ सीम्स टू बी द कंक्लूडिंग पार्ट. But you people understand, first introduces the topic, and after that, students, I'm talking about to understand the humor, to understand the joke, what the viewer is supposed to do. And then it seems like what the cartoonist has ultimately devised, or what it seems like. But students understand, in पांचों sentences को अगर अपन पढ़ते हैं, the odd one out seems to be the second one, because the second one majorly focuses on why the single panel comic is so engaging and rewarding. Whereas students, that is not the main purpose of writing the paragraph. The main purpose of writing the paragraph is to talk about what things are needed to understand the message behind it. Okay, तो ये पर्पस नहीं है कि आखिर ये सिंगल पैनल कॉमिक इतने एंगेजिंग और रिवॉर्डिंग क्यों होते हैं. इसीलिए स्टूडेंट्स, अगर आप स्लाइटली ऑब्जर्व करोगे, माइन्यूटली ऑब्जर्व करोगे, तो यू विल कम टू नो दैट देयर इज अ स्लाइट डिफरेंस बिटवीन the tone of the second and the tone of the rest of the paragraphs. The students, second is the odd one out. Yes. So do you people agree with this? आप सब लोग agree होते हैं? Very nice. And if you don't agree with this, do let me know in the comment box. And students, if I talk about the arrangement, 1, 3, 4, 5, this becomes the arrangement. 3 and 4 आपस में जेल होता है और 1 is the starting one. सेंटेंस एलिमिनेशन में स्टूडेंट्स मेरा पीस ऑफ एडवाइस है सभी बच्चों को, हमेशा आफ्टर रीडिंग ऑल द 5 sentences, try to identify the starting one. आप है ना सीधे ऑड वन को आइडेंटिफाई मत करना, हमेशा स्टार्टिंग सेंटेंस को सबसे पहले आइडेंटिफाई करना, बिकॉज व्हेन यू विल आइडेंटिफाई दिस यू विल एक्चुअली कम टू नो what is the topic of the passage, because the starting sentence, it always introduces the topic. And once you understand the topic, the theme, I think students, चीजें समझना will become easy for us. And then we can identify the odd one, which actually does not fit in that theme. चलिए, coming on students, the second question. चलो एवरीवन जो लाइव है फटाफट पढ़ो एंड ट्राई टू गिव द आंसर, जो बाद में इसको वॉच करेंगे इन द रिकॉर्डेड फॉर्मेट, प्लीज इंश्योर दैट आपके पॉज करके ट्राई टू गिव द आंसर टू दिस क्वेश्चन फर्स्ट. और ये कुछ बहुत अच्छे क्वेश्चंस हैं जो ऑनलाइन अलग अलग सोर्सेज से भी पीपल हैव पुल्ड. Yes, which is the correct answer? Shall I discuss it? Okay. चलो स्टार्ट करते हैं वापस. Let us read all the 5 sentences. The banning of northern lights could be considered a precursor to censoring books for moral worldview or religious reasons. Students, we are talking about banning of a book, and the name of the book is Northern Lights. It could be considered a precursor. Precursor का मतलब है similar to censoring books for moral worldview or religious reasons. Okay, so this can be considered similar to censoring books for moral worldview or religious reasons. ठीक है. I think वैसे फर्स्ट ऑप्शन का जो टोन है फर्स्ट सेंटेंस का, इवन फर्स्ट सेंटेंस कैन बी दी इंट्रोडक्टरी वन, बट एनीवे अभी से बहुत ज्यादा प्रीजुडिस होना इज नॉट वेरी गुड. Read all the 5 sentences open-mindedly. That is the key. Second, attempts to ban books are attempts to silence authors who have summoned immense courage in telling their stories. The students, second sentence में author implicate करते हुए कहता है कि जब बुक्स को बैन किया जाता है, it is just like silencing the authors. Okay, जिन्होंने बहुत करेज के साथ लिखा है. So, what is the meaning of banning books? And the author majorly is talking about, okay, what is the implication of that? So, if any country, okay, bans a movie, bans a book, इसका मतलब है एक तरह से उस ऑथर को साइलेंस करना, जिसने बहुत करेज के साथ उसको बनाया था. अभी भी स्टूडेंट्स आप देखो, इंडिया में भी बहुत सारी मूवीज हैं जो अलग अलग स्टेट्स में भी बैन हो जाती है कई बार, और कई सारी जो मूवीज हैं वो वर्ल्ड लेवल पर they are banned by many countries also. So it seems like each and every country has got, each and every political ideology has got its own biases, its own prejudices. So democracy mein this is not justified. If you don't like, you can denigrate, you can criticize, but how can you ban a thought if that thought is not promoting violence? If it is instigating violence, that is okay. आगे बढ़ते हैं स्टूडेंट. सेकेंड वन, now the banning and challenging of books in the US has escalated to an unprecedented level. अब थर्ड में स्टूडेंट्स हम स्पेशली यूएस के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में बात कर रहे हैं. बुक्स को बैन करना एक बहुत ही अनप्रेसिडेंटेड लेवल तक बढ़ चुका है. फोर्थ, the widely acclaimed fantasy novel Northern Lights has banned in some parts of the US and was the second most challenged book in the US. Again, we are discussing from the US context, and we are discussing this book also. And we have also mentioned that has become the second most challenged book. Fifth कहता है the American Library Association documented an unparalleled number of reported book challenges in 2022, about 2,500 unique titles. तो 2022 में कितनी सारी बुक्स को चैलेंज किया गया? And the second most challenged book was Northern Lights. It seems like 4 and 5 आपस में कहीं पर लिंक होते हैं. And third में स्टूडेंट्स हम स्पेशली बात कर रहे हैं यूएस की, and 1 से टॉपिक स्टार्ट होता है फ्रॉम बैनिंग ऑफ नॉर्दर्न लाइट्स. तो वहां से टॉपिक स्टार्ट होता है. स्टूडेंट्स क्या लगता है विच इज द ऑड वन आउट? आई थिंक विदाउट अरेंजमेंट we people can identify the odd one out. Nowhere, students, in this paragraph, the purpose is to talk about what is the implication of banning books. The main purpose of the paragraph is to just talk about in America, the number of book banning, that number has got escalated. And we are here discussing about Northern Lights. We are here to talk about this was the second most challenging book, challenged book, and 2022 में number of books 2,500 books को हमने challenge किया. And especially students, we are writing this paragraph in the context of America only. So that is the reason you people have to understand. अमेरिका में book ban बहुत common हो चुका है. That is the theme of the paragraph. But what actually it means, what is the implication of this? That is anyway associated with the topic, but slightly not in sync with the flow of the paragraph. So students, again, the correct answer is second option. And I think you people will agree with the reason which I have given. Students, समझना, यहाँ पर ये डिस्कस करना कि देखो बुक बैन करने का मतलब है ऑथर को साइलेंस करना. But that is not the purpose of writing the paragraph. The purpose is to talk about America and to say that कि अमेरिका जैसी डेमोक्रेसी में where free speech was advocated, now that becomes a kind of democracy where many books have got banned. So students, that is the purpose of writing the paragraph. So here, the best answer is second option. And if you want me to give the arrangement, 1, 3, 4, 5, this becomes the arrangement. 4, 5 वैसे भी students एक साथ आएगा. Okay, because हम लोग book being challenged उसकी बात कर रहे हैं. तो 4, 5 एक साथ, and 1 becomes the introduction. Even 3 becomes the introduction only. 1 अलग topic से introduce करता है, 3 भी introduce ही कर रहा है, लेकिन वो अमेरिका के कॉन्टेक्स्ट को बीच में ला रहा है. 1 and 3 and then 4 and 5. But second is different. चलिए, one more question. Come on students, your time starts now. पॉज करो, अच्छी तरह से समझो which is the correct answer. And I want all the students, मैं जानता हूं कि ऐसे बहुत सारे YouTube channels हैं, बहुत सारा ऑनलाइन कंटेंट है. Okay, but what is more important is, okay, focus on substance. Okay, focus on substance. तो क्या है ना, बहुत ज़्यादा शोर शराबे से नहीं निकलेगा. Okay, बहुत ज़्यादा इनोवेटिव होना, प्रमोशनल स्किल्स में, मार्केटिंग में, उससे स्टूडेंट्स आपका भला होने वाला नहीं. अंडरस्टैंड? Okay, आपका भला तभी हो पाएगा जब आप कोर सब्सटेंस पर फोकस करोगे. ASCAT, okay, just focuses on that. ASCAT के किसी भी लाइव सेशन में स्टूडेंट्स इंफॉर्मेशन के लिए हम काफ़ी कुछ बताते हैं, बट ओके, प्रमोशन करना इज नॉट द ओनली पर्पस. हर वीडियो में, हर लाइव में स्टूडेंट्स विल सी लाइव सब्सटेंस पर हमारा फोकस बहुत होता है. आप एक एक क्वेश्चन को मेरे साथ सॉल्व करो, अपने आप देखोगे आपकी कॉम्पिटेंसी बहुत गजब की डेवलप होगी. अंडरस्टैंड? चलिए, कमिंग ऑन दिस क्वेश्चन नाउ. A typical example is Wikipedia, where the overwhelming majority of contributors are male, and so the available content is skewed to reflect their interests. Students, this cannot be the starting one this time, because Wikipedia is just an example. So when I'm giving an example, there has to be some assertion before it, isn't it? Yeah. Second part is, students, without diversity of thought and representation, society is left with a distorted picture of future options, which are likely to result in augmenting existing inequalities. Augmenting का मतलब उसको enhance करना, बढ़ाना. So without diversity of thought and representation, society is left with a distorted picture of future options, which are likely to result in augmenting existing inequalities. यहाँ पर student जो people notice, we are talking about male. So possibly when I say that, the content is skewed to reflect their interests. तो कहीं ना कहीं मैं gender bias की बात कर रहा हूँ, okay, gender discrimination की बात कर रहा हूँ. But second sentence, if you closely observe, I'm just talking about diversity. In the second option, students specifically, I'm not talking about the gender-based biasness which is there. Okay, तो ये थोड़ा सा notice करना पढ़ते हुए. You will have to be careful about. Even if all the sentences are talking about diversity, but are we talking about diversity in general or gender-based? अब student third. Gross gender inequality in the technology sector is problematic, not only for the industry-wide marginalization of women, but because technology designs embody the values of their makers. अब स्टूडेंट्स आप देखो टेक्नोलॉजी के फील्ड में ज़्यादातर मेल्स हैं, तो डेफिनेटली वो जो टेक्नोलॉजी डिज़ाइन करेंगे आपके, वो भी किसके लिए होगी? मेल्स के लिए ज़्यादा होगी, मेल्स डोमिनेटेड होगी. अंडरस्टैंड? So that is what the third option is talking about, the third sentence. So understand, third is talking about gender inequality, and third is talking about the technology sector. Both, while reducing unequal representation in the workplace, is a step in the right direction. Broader social change is needed to address the structural inequalities embedded within the current organization of work and employment. Now, you people try to understand, if I talk about the fourth one, it is majorly talking about structural inequalities. And moreover, students, fourth में भी कहीं पर gender-based inequality के बारे में बात नहीं हो रही है. तो when I say structural, okay, वो एक बहुत ही generic field है, understand, embedded within the current organization. And fourth is talking about the organization. It is not talking about the technology sector, whereas Wikipedia also becomes an example of technology sector. And moreover, students, second में हमने ऐसा कुछ नहीं बोला, understand? तो ठीक है, अभी बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग है, तो मुझे लगता है एक तो सेकंड और एक फोर्थ, ये we will have to consider. फिफ्थ कहता है, if technology merely reflects the perspectives of the male stereotype, the new technologies are unlikely to accommodate the diverse social context within which they operate. So fifth is again talking about technology, and fifth is giving a viewpoint. So if technology merely reflects the perspectives of the male, जैसा कि विकीपीडिया के एग्जाम्पल में हो रहा है, इसका मतलब है 5 becomes the assertion, the viewpoint, and 1 becomes the example of that. तो 5 और 1 तो आपस में जेल होता है, अंडरस्टैंड? अब अगर ये आपस में जेल होता है तो ये आंसर हो नहीं सकता. अब थर्ड इसलिए आंसर नहीं हो सकता बिकॉज अगेन थर्ड इज टॉकिंग अबाउट टेक्नोलॉजी सेक्टर, जेंडर इनइक्वालिटी. तो स्टूडेंट्स ये भी आंसर हो नहीं सकता. अब आंसर सेकंड या फोर्थ में से एक है, सेकंड या फोर्थ. तो मुझे लगता है स्टूडेंट्स सेकंड ऑप्शन should become the part of the paragraph and this should be the best conclusion of the paragraph. तो हो सकता है 3, 5, 1, 2, this can be the sequence, and in that case fourth becomes the odd one out. And fourth वैसे भी स्टूडेंट्स बात करता है वर्क प्लेस की, स्ट्रक्चरल इनइक्वालिटीज की, एंड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की, और वर्क एंड एम्प्लॉयमेंट. तो nowhere we are talking about gender inequality, nowhere we are talking about the technology sector. So fourth is a very generic sentence, जबकि second best concludes the paragraph or summarizes the paragraph. So second को I think it is better to take the part of the paragraph. And fourth is the correct answer. Yes, I'll go with fourth. क्या लगता है स्टूडेंट्स, मजा आया? तो बहुत ही अच्छा कैट लेवल का क्वेश्चन है, अच्छी तरह से पढ़ो और पूरे मन लगाकर. स्टूडेंट्स देखो, बहुत किसी भी सब्जेक्ट में, इन केस इफ यू वांट टू डेवलप अ वेरी गुड कमांड, एम्ब्रेस द सब्जेक्ट, ओके. एंड बहुत ज़्यादा मेंटली प्रेशर या बर्डन लेकर चलना इज नॉट द की टू सक्सेस. यू विल हैव टू अल्टीमेटली मास्टर द साथ. मैं जानता हूँ बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं, बट ह्यूमन, हम जब भी कोई काम करते हैं, एक काम एट अ टाइम. जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल व्हेन यू पीपल आर अटेंडिंग दिस सेशन, तो पूरी तरह से 10, 15, 20 मिनट सिर्फ इसी को अटेंड करो. आप इसके साथ जस्टिस करो, अंडरस्टैंड. बॉक्स स्ट्रैटेजी, आप पूरी पिक्चर को मत देखो. look at a particular box of that picture. So if you focus only on a particular box, हमें सिर्फ उस बॉक्स में इस आर्क को बनाना है. तो अगर इतना सा काम करना है तो माइंड हमेशा मोटिवेट होगा. हमें अभी क्या करना है स्टूडेंट्स, आप अगर इस वीडियो को देख रहे हो ना, जस्ट फोकस ऑन दैट कि मुझे अभी इस क्वेश्चन को, दिस क्वेश्चन एंड दिस वीडियो बिकम्स अ बॉक्स, तो लेट मी डू जस्टिस विद दैट. ये कंप्लीट होगा जब फ्रेश माइंड से अपन लोग मैथ्स पढ़ेंगे. तो जब क्वांट पढ़ो तो जस्ट फोकस ऑन दैट बॉक्स. तो सब चीज को हौच पौच करके चलना इज नॉट गुड एंड यू विल हैव टू लर्न दिस आर्ट. ओके, यही तो मैनेजमेंट सीखने आप आईआईएम्स में जाना चाहते हो, तो थोड़ा बहुत तो स्टूडेंट्स अभी से करने स्टार्ट करो. एंड थोड़ा बहुत जो टिप्स मैं आपको देता हूँ, स्टार्ट वर्किंग ऑन दैट. So one box at a time. One box at a time. Don't look at the complete picture. Okay, इतना सा स्टूडेंट्स अगर अपन ने सेग्रीगेट करना स्टार्ट किया और माइंड को देखिए मैनेज करना स्टार्ट किया, आई थिंक हर सब्जेक्ट में कॉम्पिटेंसी भी डेवलप होगी एंड यू विल एंजॉय दिस जर्नी. अंडरस्टैंड? चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं स्टूडेंट्स. देयर इज वन क्वेश्चन, सर वी शुड फोकस ऑन मेकिंग क्लियर इन ऑड वन लाइक पैराजम्बल्स. Actually, I think you joined the late. मैं थोड़ा सा और हिंट दे देता हूँ. Read all the 5 sentences once. Identify the starting one. So the moment you identify the starting one, you will actually come to know what is the topic and what is the theme. And then read all the 5 sentences once again to see are you able to identify the odd one without arrangement or not. But in case if you're not able to do this, then it is better to go for pairing. This approach has to be there. Okay? चलो एक क्वेश्चन अपन और करते हैं. लेट अस सी. नाउ दिस इज अ वेरी गुड क्वेश्चन. किसी ऑनलाइन सोर्स से मुझे मिला था एंड एक बहुत अच्छा क्वेश्चन है. लेट अस सी हाउ मेनी स्टूडेंट्स आर एबल टू डू इट. यस हर्ष. Yes, any answers? Okay. मेरे साथ इस क्वेश्चन को सॉल्व करो. आई टेल यू व्हिच इज द करेक्ट आंसर एंड व्हाई. As students, I do understand the topic is not very easy for us. Possibly many of the students may not be much comfortable with the topic. But here also students, without arrangement, we can give the correct answer. Starting कहाँ से करना चाहिए? Second से तो start होगा नहीं, even in conditions. So if you read all the 5 sentences, the best starting will be 4. Freedom of speech and the power to silence may have been preeminent markers of white liberty in colonies. So when I say in colonies, kaun si colonies? Okay, I'm talking about the European colonies. Okay, you people do understand colonial era, when the European powers, they used to make the various countries of the world their colonies. So even India was once a colony of Britishers. Goa, Pondicherry, these all were colonies of their respective rulers. The students इन सब कॉलोनीज में वाइट लिबर्टी, जो वाइट पीपल थे, वो क्या चाहते थे? दे शुड हैव फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच ऑल्सो एंड दे शुड हैव द पावर टू साइलेंस ऑल्सो. किसे? जिनको उन्होंने एनस्लेव किया. अंडरस्टैंड? अच्छा, सम स्टूडेंट्स हैव गिवन द आंसर्स. ओके, डन. Pratyunjay has given the answer and Harsh has given the answer. Okay, wonderful. Just hold on. So they want that. They should have the freedom of speech and they should have the power to silence also. Okay, especially the enslaved ones. But at the same time, slavery dependent on dialogue. Slaves could never be completely muted. तो वो चाहकर भी स्लेव्स को कभी कंप्लीटली म्यूट नहीं कर पाते थे, अंडरस्टैंड। अब इसके बाद क्या होना चाहिए स्टूडेंट्स आंसर। अब अगर आप सारे सेंटेंसेस को पढ़ोगे तो यू विल एक्चुअली कम टू नो odd one is the third one. And why odd one is the third one? Because the rest of the sentences they are talking about the dialogue among the slaves. The rest of the sentences they say that slaves को म्यूट करना is not possible. आपके हालांकि ये जितनी भी कॉलोनियल पावर्स थे उन्हें पता था कि स्लेव्स आपस में जब बात करेंगे तो पॉसिबली उनके अगेंस्ट कोई कॉन्स्पिरेसी या पॉसिबली रिवॉल्ट भी कर सकते हैं, पर चाहकर भी वो स्लेव्स को पूरी तरह से म्यूट नहीं कर पाते। And slaves, they kept communicating, talk, communication, यही तो उनका हथियार था, अंडरस्टैंड। इसी बहाने वो एक दूसरे से जुड़े रहते थे, तो उसे साइलेंस करना was not possible. जबकि थर्ड सेज slaves came from societies in which oaths, orations and invocations carried great potency, both between people as a connection to the all-powerful spirit world. The student slaves came from such societies, okay, जहाँ पर oath, orations का मतलब होता है speaking, invocations carried great potency, उसमें जबरदस्त ताकत मानी जाती, लोग आपस में कम्युनिकेट करते and at the same time they had a very good connection with the all powerful spirit world. So that kind of society these slaves came from, understand। अब slaves किस तरह की societies से आते हैं इसको डिस्कस करना was not the main purpose of the paragraph. इसलिए स्टूडेंट जो पीपल डू अंडरस्टैंड विदाउट मेकिंग अरेंजमेंट इफ यू आर एबल टू फिगर आउट व्हिच इज द ऑड वन आउट, दैट हैपेंस टू बी द थर्ड वन। बट इन केस if you want to make the arrangement, this becomes the complete arrangement. I want all the students इस ऑर्डर में इस पूरे पैराग्राफ को पढ़ना, everything will start making sense. तो 4 से हमने टॉपिक को स्टार्ट किया। 5th, slave owners obsessed over slave talk. Though they could never control it, yet feared its power to bind and inspire. For, as everyone knew, oaths, whispers, and secret conversations bred conspiracy and revolt. पता है slaves के बीच में जो whispering हो रही है, जो secret conversations हो रहा है, possibly they may revolt as well, पर चाहकर भी उन्हें रोक नहीं पाते, understand? The talk was the most common way for enslaved men and women to subvert का मतलब है damage the rules of their bondage, okay, to gain more agency than they were supposed to have. The talk was the only weapon these people had. So even in conditions of extreme violence and unfreedom, their words remained ubiquitous. Ubiquitous मतलब widespread. So even in case of extreme violence, slaves को पूरी तरह से म्यूट कर पाना was not possible. Even during extreme violence, they were outspoken and not outspoken, but they kept communicating, they kept expressing, they kept talking among themselves. So their words were ubiquitous, even in the conditions of extreme violence. The students' second becomes the best ending of the paragraph. So 4, 5, 1, 2 becomes the paragraph, and third is the odd one out, which actually talks about what kind of societies these slaves belong to. So anyway, it is related to the paragraph, but still that is not the main sense of the paragraph and that is not the direction of the paragraph. So third becomes the odd one out. Agreed? Perfect. So kudos to all the students who have given third as the correct answer. And this becomes the last question of today's session. और स्टूडेंट जो लास्ट क्वेश्चन होता है वो हमेशा होम असाइनमेंट होता है। आई वांट एवरीवन अच्छी तरह से पढ़ो, गिव द आंसर and please give your answer in the comment box. And whatever suggestions you people have got, do let us know. किसी particular topic पर, if you want me to take a class, do let me know. And students on this channel, there are so many live sessions and so many recorded videos which are already available on each and every section of CAT and OMETS also. And students, let me reaffirm once again the trio of Anil, I myself, Ankit sir and Arpit sir. We are doing a terrific job. I urge all the students to just follow all the 3 teachers and see how your scores in CAT gets scaled up. So we are with you and keep sharing whatever questions you people have got. Okay. चलिए, सो थैंक यू सो मच। इस क्वेश्चन को स्टूडेंट्स अब बाद में सॉल्व करके मुझे बताएंगे और इस सेशन को मैं अभी फिलहाल एंड कर रहा हूँ। See you soon tomorrow, and tomorrow we are going to have a session on English for OMATs. Okay, thanks a lot.